indie wrestler, messaged me and was like, hey, you kind of have some potential. Why don't you like actually try to do this? He's now known as Vincent. That's like my favorite event. I always liked wrestling Nick. I love that match, the cage match with Nico. Did a coast to coast to him. I had never done that. That's when I beat up his brother. We're fighting over who's gonna lose. He was awesome to work with. Ichiban. I thought we meshed really well together too. Finally, they said, this is official. Me and Sammy again, Vincent and Dutch. On TikTok, I see a bunch of like food reviewers. Everything's a 10 out of 10. So I'm like, I can do this. I had to take that. Drew was like, I'm not taking that yet. That's all you.
Ladies and gentlemen, hosted by Coach C, Chris Sanders, this is Best for Business.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Another episode of Best for Business. I'm pumped for this one. First time ever, Matt Magnum. Thank you so much for joining me for this one.
No problem. Might as well do one sometime. So,
so I say to Teddy Goods all the time, you're one of my favorite people on the roster. You're going to call matches for and watch you in the ring. But I'm curious, you've never done one of these. So how did you start in pro wrestling?
Man, my start. Well, I think I started the way a lot of people start. You know, you mess around with your friends in the backyard. And, you know, it was just a bunch of like my high school or middle school and like high school friends just messing around. And we would post the videos like on MySpace or whatever it was, you know, at the time. I think it was MySpace. And one day a wrestler, an indie wrestler, messaged me and was like, hey, you kind of have some potential. Why don't you like actually try to do this?
Yeah.
So me and my friend John from high school, who's now known as JT Dunn, we went together to this guy's house. It was so shady, you know, like typical like indie, you know, wrestling. So we go to this guy's house and he has a ring set up in his backyard. And that's where I met he's now known as Vincent.
Wow.
So Vincent's there. So me and John go to this guy's house and they're just showing us like how to run the ropes and how to bump and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was our first time like ever in an actual like ring.
Wow. So I was talking to JT. He told me he didn't start off as JT Dunn. What were your backyard names?
Oh shit.
Were you always Matt Magnum or no?
No, I wasn't. That came later. I don't know. I think I was a Kurt Angle fan. I think I was like Matt Angle.
I love it.
Yeah.
So you go from training in Vinny's backyard. So when do you start with Ryan Waters? Is that years later?
That's years later. So we were just doing that. We did that a couple of times, like just in this guy's back, not Vinny's backyard. I think his name was Mark, I think, or Mike. I don't remember. So then we start at this place called NEP. It was New England Promotions. Okay. It was the thing that guy Angel ran, I think.
Was he like in North Providence?
Maybe. I don't know if he's probably moved a bunch of times. So I don't know. It was literally at a farm. A farm. So like people are doing a hayride and there's a ring.
Love it.
Typical, you know, of course, we think we made it to the big time. Wrestling on a farm in front of people. So there's a few shows there. And then I actually got started at a place called ACW. They were in Somerset. Then they moved to New Bedford, then Fairhaven. Have you heard of ACW?
I forgot who. If this is like the same one that like the Monster Mac and Trainee, that one? They were on those shows?
They might have been on them. This was like, I want to say when Yankee Pro Wrestling split into Top Rope and some people went their separate ways. So it became Top Rope and ACW. So ACW had guys like Brickhouse Baker and Scott Ashworth, those guys. So that's kind of where I got my start.
So how do you become Matt Magnum?
So I'm at one of those farm shows I was talking about. And they were like, I think I like did the ring announcing my first time there.
Nice.
And then they were like, "Oh, do you want to like have a match?" Of course I want to have a match, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, "You need a name." Someone goes, "Hey, think of like a weapon that begins with an M. You could be Matt something, right?" So I'm like, okay, what begins with an M? Machete, machine gun, and those aren't going to work.
Yeah.
And then I think, hey, Magnum sounds kind of cool. So that was it. That was literally it. It was like not long before my first match where I came up with that name, and I just kept it.
So walk me through. You start in the backyard. Vinny looks at you, tells you got potential. Walk me through this first match. How was it?
Awful. It was against John at the farm.
Yeah.
Or JT, whatever you want to call him. I always call him John. It was terrible. We didn't know what we were doing. He was in like gym shorts and a tank top. I think I was in like my high school wrestling singlet, and we hadn't had training yet.
Yeah.
We just knew how to run the ropes and bump. We didn't know how to do a match yet. We weren't ready for our first match. It was a terrible idea. But if you saw those shows at the farm, you would say, yeah, this fits here.
Yeah.
So no, it wasn't good. But you know what? It was cool to get in there. And everybody starts somewhere. So
so you talk about your career, you're learning from Vincent, then you go to Ryan Waters. When we talk about Ryan Waters, we're going to talk about team with him. But from learning him in general, what do you think are like some of the biggest lessons you've learned from him?
So I didn't learn from him until a few years after like the whole ECW thing. So they would have these shows at a New England like soccer center in New Bedford, and then they moved to like a Fairhaven VFW. And sometimes Ryan and like Teddy would like go to those shows, I think just to like laugh. But they didn't know me. And what I heard was that one of like the shows I had a match, probably a horrible match. And Ryan came up to me or messaged me or something, and he said, you had a good drop kick in there. So he was like, so I saw like he saw potential. He goes, nothing about the match. He goes, your drop kick was nice, and he didn't know me, so he offered me to like go and train or whatever. And for a while, I didn't go because I had heard from other people, oh, those guys are jerks. Don't listen to them. They're just a bunch of jerks. So I never went. And then after years at ACW, it was like, is this going anywhere? It's the same people. A lot of like the older guys are there, and it just wasn't. There was nothing really going on. Nothing against those guys. I got my start there, and like they had me on their shows, and it was a good experience. But I just didn't see anything evolving. So finally, I did go to a practice, and there were guys like Mike Bennett there, BK Jordan, Spike Dudley.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is completely different. This is like they're teaching me what to do, like psychology and stuff. So I went once, and then that gets back to the people at ACW. Oh my God, I can't believe you went there. What are you thinking?
Jumping ship over there.
Yeah, it was like you can't work here if you work there.
That's like the territory days, old school.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was stupid looking back on it. So eventually, as you keep going to these practices, they're like, all right, are you going to go wrestle there or are you going to stay here? So eventually you got to make a decision. And I decided to move on to top rope. I see guys like Mike Bennett, Tommaso Ciampa, BK Jordan, Matt Taven started in ACW too, and he went to top rope before I did. And he was like, yeah, you and Vinny should come here. Like, what are you guys doing? So it was cool.
So did you and Vinny like do it together?
We were in ACW for a while together, and then we both went over to top rope at the same time.
Nice. So you talk about Ryan Waters. I'm curious. One of the things I love, I was doing some film study earlier. Prestige. What's the idea behind it?
Well, we were going to be a team, and I forget who came up with the name The Prestige. Someone came up with it because they saw the movie or they heard of the movie. And they were like, that's a cool name. And, me and me and Ryan, we're not going to think of like too many ideas together. And we were like, yeah, that works. We'll do that.
Yeah.
And I already had like the red tights with my name, kind of like the old like British Bulldog tie. I totally just copied that. And so I told the lady who made my gear, I was like, can you make some for Ryan too? And she just made them like the same way as me, and we're a tag team now.
Yeah. Is there a match that stands out being a part of Prestige?
So we had a few matches with the Alden brothers that we always enjoyed wrestling them. We had like a few regular matches, and then we had a cage match. I forget where. I think in Adams, Massachusetts. Where Ryan, of course, takes a backdrop over the top of the cage to the floor, and I missed the flying headbutt off the cage. You know, it was just a complete like a brawl. It was a lot of fun, like because we had so many regular matches with those guys. So the cage match was a lot of fun, just like a crazy brawl and taking crazy bumps.
Yeah. So when I look at your career, I look at Prestige with Ryan Waters, and then how did this idea come? It was short-lived, but team with Vinnie Nero.
All right, that was before Prestige. Yeah. So that was in Lethal Pro Wrestling, I believe, in Fall River. That was a Paul Azan creation.
Nice.
We started there, and I want to say Gino Giovanni came up with the name Magnerocent.
Yeah.
Because he was Nero, I'm Magnum, Magnerocent. We only wrestled there a few times. That place didn't last long. So, but again, it was cool. You know, a lot of like the ACW guys were there, and then some like chaotic guys. It was like a mix.
Yeah. So when I look at your career, you've done some pretty cool things. The first thing, I don't think I've ever interviewed everyone so far, and they can't say this. What was it like wrestling Jim Neidhart?
Jim. Yeah, that was cool. It was me and Ryan against Jim and Matt Taven.
Yeah.
They were like the Hart Foundation. So you never know what to expect when you're going to wrestle one of like the 80s or 90s. Oh, yeah. You don't know if they're just going to come in and be like, yeah, we're going 2 minutes. You know, I'm not doing anything, blah, blah, blah. He was game. He was like ready to go. He took a few bumps for us, which I did not expect.
Yeah.
And, you know, he did his typical stuff. We were in there with, like, Taven most of the time. But, you know, he would come in and do a few spots. And he was awesome to work with. I totally did not expect that. Like, thought he would just kind of big league it. But he was a lot of fun. And then I think the next night we had another show, and he was there again. And he was hoping he could just wrestle us again, which was cool. Wow. He was like, oh, I was hoping it would just be you guys again.
Yeah.
Which was a compliment. So.
Yeah.
Very, very cool experience.
So when you talk about Top Rope, what was it like? You've done it twice, but the first time to win the Top Rope Promotions Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah. So was the Kowalski Cup first? I think the Kowalski Cup was first. And then I won like the Rumble to get a title shot.
Yeah.
And then that gets delayed because I got to have surgery. So I win the title shot against Taven. And then I have the surgery, so they had to, you know, change things around. By the time I'm ready to go, it's time for their like big anniversary show.
Yeah.
So that was cool, like the big show of the year, being in the title match. And Ryan's booking at the time. He comes up to us and he goes, all right, I'm going to leave it up to you guys at the end. Because I'm coming back from a surgery. So a lot of the fans were happy to see me. But
how long were you on the show for?
About like 4 or 5 months, I think. Because Taven's a babyface too, but he knows I'm going to get kind of like a babyface reaction as well. And he goes, all right, if they're split, the crowd, then Taven goes over and handshake at the end, but Magnum turns on Taven. And then that sets up more matches. If the crowd is mostly Magnum goes over. And, you know, we'll keep going and stuff. So now I'm like, I want to lose because I want to turn heel and just keep working with Taven. Taven's like, no, you have to win because you're coming back. Oh, we're fighting over who's going to lose, pretty much. And not in the typical way. Usually
Yeah.
you want to win. We both want to lose. So Taven's like, no, you're winning. You're winning. And, we had the match, and it was my first match in months. So
Yeah.
I credit all that to Taven, and a really good match in front of, well, I'll say a sold out crowd. It was like 400 something people. It's not like, 10,000 people, but good match. I beat him for the title there. And then we had a few more matches after that until he finally won it back. So it was a cool moment.
Yeah, so we talk about your career. You got the win at the time. It was going hot. You were in it a few years, I think, prior and then one after. But what was it like winning the Kowalski Cup? Because I believe your year was absolutely stacked.
That was a great tournament. I remember a lot of the matches being good. Like everyone was on their game that night. My first round match was against Jason Blade, who I'm still new at the time, and I knew he had been around for a while. And I think we had one match before that at like a random like spot show.
Yeah.
Just to kind of, see how we worked together. And we meshed well like from the beginning. So we had that first round match, which I thought went really well. I go over him in that first match. I think the second round I wrestled Julian Starr.
Yeah.
Beat him in the second round, and then it ended up being me and Vinny in the finals.
Nice.
So that was like, we really wanted that because, me and Vinny, we were, best friends and starting together, and to be in the finals was cool. And I think a lot of people assumed, because Vinny was like the baby face, that he was going to go over. That people just assumed, oh, Vinny's going to win, the bad guy's not going to win. And then when I beat him, it was like, holy crap.
Wow.
But, like the first round match, me and Blade, we had time to kind of go over it. Me and Julian had time to go over it. By the time you get to that third match, it was like there was one match in between, like a random, not a Kowalski Cup match.
Yeah.
Me and Vinny were like trying to put it together. We're like, you do this. And then we're like, you know what? We know how to do this. So we'll just, here's the finish. Let's just go out there and work. And it was at the time, was such a good match.
Nice.
Like, we were so happy with it. Even Ryan put something nice online, which he doesn't do a lot of that.
Wow.
It was a really, really good match. We were really happy with it. And I don't think I've ever seen it, actually. But
I got to get this footage. Who do you think has it?
Ryan has it. He might have it.
Hit him up today. We'll try to get it.
I've seen clips of it.
Yeah.
I have seen clips of it. I don't think I've ever seen the whole thing, though. And, like I said, at the time, we're like, oh, my God, that was such a good match. I don't know how it would hold up today. But, because that was how long ago? 15, 16 years ago. So
I got to do my research. You might be up there for being in the most Kowalskis, because I think you were in like 4 or something like that.
Let's see. Maybe.
I want to say 2 years prior, and then you win, and then I think you're in the next year, too.
Yeah, Vinny won it, I think, the next year, and I was in that. I think I wrestled him in the semifinals that time. Yeah. I was in a few.
Yeah. So we talk about things to do at Top Rope. You're part of the list. The championship you've won a Kowalski Cup, but also the Spindle City Rumble.
Yep, that was to get the title shot against Taven. That was a 2-ring Rumble.
Wow.
So there was 40 guys, and those are a lot. I love the Rumble matches.
Yeah.
I love just being in there with like everyone, like guys you've never worked with before or guys that you have worked with. It's a lot of fun, especially when you get to go in early and kind of work with everybody. And
what number were you? Do you remember?
Oh, no, I don't. I do not remember.
Yeah.
But I remember coming down to me and I want to say Big Daddy Bravo.
Wow.
Yeah. So everyone assumed because he's, 6 foot, whatever, and like 300 pounds. I don't think I threw him over the top. I think I put him in the crossface. I think the last 2 you could either pin, submit, or throw over the top. I think I put him in the crossface. And then after that they got a good shot of Taven coming in the ring with the title.
Yeah. And
this was after the Kowalski Cup, so I had the trophy, and we both kind of raised them at the same time, and there was your main event for the next show.
So when you talk your career, we talk about wrestling Jim Neidhart, but what was it like wrestling the Headbangers?
The Headbangers. They were cool guys, too. That was the show in Maine. Me and Ryan, and I think Vinny, we rode up there. And we get there, and the guy's like, "Oh, you're going to be working with the Headbangers."
Mhm.
And now they hadn't been on TV in a while. We're like, "Are they still working? Like,
Yeah.
what do they look like now?" And they looked exactly like the same. We were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, there they are." And they were cool guys. We put together we didn't call too much, but yeah, they liked working with us.
Nice.
We could work on the fly. We were bumping all over for them, and playing it up with the crowd. And I had to take their finish. I don't know if you ever seen it. The one guy does a power bomb. The
Yeah.
other guy comes off the top with the leg drop at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had to take that. Drew was
Wow.
like, "I'm not taking that. Yeah, that's all you." So I was lucky enough to take their finish. But they were cool. They liked the match. One of them was like, "Hey, you got to be a little more snug, a little stiffer with your shots." The other one was like, "Hey, you got to lighten up a little. You guys are killing me." Yeah, so it's two totally different things, which we laughed about.
Yeah. Is it through Vinny that you start going to XWA, or how does that happen?
XWA. The guy Mike.
Yeah.
He just messaged me one day. He booked me.
Nice.
So
One match that sticks out. What was it like? You wrestled Latin Dragon and Swerve Strickland.
okay, I remember wrestling Swerve Strickland.
Yeah.
Was that a triple threat or?
Yeah, triple threat.
I'm trying to. Oh, all right. Yeah, that was at a school somewhere. Yeah, they came from CZW, I think, right?
Yeah, probably at the time they were hot there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, they were friends. They were like tight. I didn't know either one of them. Obviously, I was just kind of thrown in this triple threat. So they're kind of like setting up a bunch of stuff with themselves. I was kind of like the odd man out.
Yeah.
But as the match was going on, I mean, they could tell like I could do stuff. So we had like a typical like triple threat where they got to do a bunch of their cool stuff, and I'm not going to do any of the acrobatics. So I don't do this. So I was kind of like the catcher for them, doing a bunch of stuff. But I remember Swerve being a pretty cool guy, and
nice.
The other guy, he was there.
Nice. Yeah. So I'm curious, you won the Top Rope Heavyweight Championship, and then the second reign. What is your feud like with Nico Silva to you, the cage match and all?
So this was after, like, I took a few years off.
Okay.
I just didn't wrestle at all. And, you get the itch again.
Yeah.
I wanted to get back into it, and I didn't really know Nico at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I had kind of just been watching some of the clips from guys that like who was at Top Rope.
Yeah.
I've been there, and it was a bunch of guys that I didn't know, and I see Nico, and I'm like, oh, I think I would mesh well with him.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, all right, if I ever like go back, that's one of the guys I want to work with, whether it just be a match or two or a feud or whatever. And Ryan I think I talked to Ryan and like, hey, I want to, go at it again.
Yeah.
And so I think I did like a few matches, and then he's like, oh, what about like a feud with Nico? And, I was game for that.
Yeah.
So we had our first match in Fall River, not at the PAL. It was like another place across the street. And I thought that went really well. We started out with like a lot. He was an amateur wrestler too. So we did a lot of that, which some people find boring, but I like that stuff.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a no contest type thing. I think I got disqualified or something. We had a second match. I think the same thing. Another like no contest. I think we brawled or something, and everybody broke us up. That was at a Teddy show, I think, but still under Top Rope.
Yeah.
And then the third match, I want to say that's when I beat him.
Okay.
And no one expected that because for a while, Nico was the champion. It was just like, who's the heel he's going to beat tonight? It was just give him a heel, he beats him, and the crowd is happy.
Yeah.
And when I beat him, everyone was like, what? How did Nico lose?
Yeah.
So we're telling the story where we're like, all right, no contest. I beat him.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think I beat him at Summer Showdown. Cheating, obviously. I think I smashed like a crutch into his throat or something. He took the brunt of that.
Wow.
And then we had that I Quit match in Brockton, which was crazy. I did a coast to coast to him. I had never done that, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it today. And that's when I beat up his brother in the middle. Yeah. So I like tied him up in the corner and I grabbed his brother like over the railing, and I'm about to put him in the submission, and he quits. So I don't do it.
Yeah.
So, but I still did it anyway.
Yeah. What a guy.
I'm a jerk,
Yeah.
So we're telling the story. No contest, no contest. I beat him by holding the tights. I beat him by cheating. I beat him by making him quit because he doesn't want his brother to get hurt.
Yeah.
So no one's really beating anyone.
Yeah.
We're just kind of like, I keep getting the better of him in different ways.
Yeah.
Which then leads to the cage match.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, all right, you can't have a DQ. We're going to prevent people from running in. This is it. And then when he finally, beats me, which that was a great, I love that match, the cage match with Nico. Nice. It was just it was a good ending. He has to win in the end.
Yeah, of course.
And for him to hit the big move off the cage, and that the crowd there, they were ready for it. They were happy that he finally got the belt back. So I love that.
I've always been a fan of you for the gear. What is did you always think the style was cool, like the camel style you've done? Because you've done different colors over the years.
Yeah, so the first run I was kind of just doing basic tights.
Yeah.
Like a color with my name down the leg, and that was it, white boots. And then I always loved Edge's gear. When he did the camo, I loved when he did the purple and black and the red and black.
Yeah.
And then at that time, he wasn't really doing the camo anymore. So I'm like, all right, people won't think I'm just copying him now.
Wow. Yeah.
So I want to say I did a red and gray and black, and then the purple and black, and then I did a red, white, and blue one. I just thought it was different. Not a lot of camo. And then, of course, after I did that, a bunch of people had camo. Not that they were copying me, but a lot of people.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone's copying me. But it's a lot more common. But I thought it was cool. Yeah. I've kind of gone back to the more basic style now, but I thought the camo was a good switch up.
Yeah. Do you have any Nick Steele stories that stand out?
Oh yeah. I love Nick Steele.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to think about him at first either, because you just hear stories from people how he was crazy. He's such a mean guy, he's a bully, all this other stuff. And you hear that from enough people, you start to believe it.
Absolutely.
And then I finally did meet him, and I'm like, oh, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
What's everyone talking about? And then I'm booked to wrestle against him, and now I don't know what to expect. Maybe he's a nice guy in the locker room, but he's a jerk in the ring. I don't know. I didn't think that at all. I always liked wrestling Nick. He was very giving. He was much bigger than me, and he's letting me suplex him and stuff.
Wow.
And, people would always say, "Oh, he's so stiff. He beats people up." Here's the thing about Nick: he will hit you really hard, but in a safe way. He'll rock you, with a clothesline or something. But it's with the meat of his arm or in a safe spot. Some guys will hit you with a forearm and they'll elbow you in the eye socket. He never did that. I never got hurt wrestling him. Always enjoyed wrestling. Always enjoyed being around him. Just a really good guy. It was a really sad day when I heard that he passed away. It was totally unexpected. So nothing but good memories with Nick.
The first time you wrestled him, was it singles or was it a tag?
I want to say it was a tag.
Yeah.
I think it was me and Drew against him and someone else at a Power League wrestling.
Yeah.
And, that was the first time. And then we had a bunch of singles matches, a bunch of tag matches too, with me and Drew against him and Vane.
Yeah.
That was his longtime tag partner.
Yeah.
So we had a ton of matches with them.
So when I was looking up your resume, there was one match that just blew my mind, and I was watching clips and I asked him about it earlier today. Do you have any memories or anything wrestling Anthony Stone with Taylor Hendricks as the ref?
Yeah, that was the old ACW days.
Okay, yeah.
That was at the VFW there in Fairhaven.
Yeah.
We were like the cruiserweights or whatever, which is funny because everybody could have been a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
We were like the young, in shape guys, the cruiserweights. So I think we had been, feuding for a few months, trading wins back and forth, and it was going to end with a big, street fight or whatever.
Yeah.
I have no clue why Taylor was the referee.
Yeah.
I have no idea why that was done. Maybe there's a reason I'm just not remembering, but I have no clue why she was there.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just had like a street fight or whatever.
Nice.
Good way to end the feud. I think the finish of that match was so stupid because we're hitting each other with weapons and taking bumps on ladders and stuff, and then a guy ran in and just gave me a big boot, and that was the end. Yeah, that was before we thought about finishes that much. Just nowadays I'd be like, well, maybe we'll do the big boot earlier, and we can finish with one of these gimmicks, but a big boot, not really a good finish for that.
Yeah. One of my favorite topics to talk about in Best for Business, I've asked so many people, you've been in a few. Walk me through like your thought process if you have any stories. Wrestle Roulette, one of the most unique concepts in pro wrestling.
I love the Wrestle Roulette. That's like my favorite event of the year. A lot of people like to, obviously plan their matches, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some people plan everything, some people plan half of it. This forces you to go on the fly, which, maybe you don't want to do that every show, go on the fly, but you should know how to do it.
Yeah.
Everyone should be able to do that because you never know. Maybe your opponent's late one time and you're the first match and you don't have time to talk things over.
Yeah.
So you should be able to go on the fly. And I think it's a good test for everybody. The guys who usually will plan things out, you got to switch it up today. You don't know who your opponent is. You don't know the finish until the second guy goes out there or the referee tells you.
Yeah.
And you just got to work. And it's a lot of fun. I love, we all kind of cluster up near the entrance waiting for our name to be called.
Yeah.
You can tell some guys are more nervous than others. It's a lot of fun. I think it's a great concept. I wish more places would do it.
When you were learning at Top Rope or even before, were you learning like on the fly more, or was it like more prepping prior to the match?
Yeah, so under Spike, when we would go with Spike Dudley, he didn't want to, if he wanted us to do a match, he'd say, go do a match. It wasn't like, okay, take a few minutes, talk it over. And the same thing with Ryan.
Nice.
Spike would be the trainer one day, and then Ryan would do the other day. He didn't want us really planning anything either. He was he kind of had the same mindset as Spike. Like, I'm teaching you psychology, and if I tell you, hey, go do a match, use what I've taught you, and you should be able to do it on the fly, no problem. So me and Vinnie probably had 200 matches in that training area on the fly.
Nice.
Yeah, they would just kind of throw it at, all right, go do a match.
Yeah. So you talk about Vinny. There's moments in my life where I've marked out for Matt Magnum. Me and my dad, I was so pumped for this one. Ring of Honor comes to Rhode Island, and out we comes you and Sammy Diaz in a full circle moment getting to wrestle Vincent and Dutch. So what was that like for you? I had Sammy Diaz on. He told him originally it was supposed to be like 3 different matches before there was this tag. So for you, what was it like?
Yeah, same thing. I was told about 3 or 4 different things until it landed on that. So I had done extra work for AEW a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And never had a match.
Yeah.
And that I don't want to say it's discouraging, but you go there hoping to have a match. Doing the security thing is cool the first few times. After that, you're I kind of want to I want to wrestle, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that it was at the old Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence, and I'd been there a bunch of times as a kid. So I'm really hoping tonight I get a match. So he comes up, one of the agents or producers comes up, and he's like, okay, I think it was me and Kylon King at first against Vinny and Dutch. And they go, all right, never mind, scrap that.
Yeah.
Damn it. And then it's okay, it's you. And then I want to say maybe Dustin and Kylon against the House of Black.
Wow.
On Collision. I'm like, oh, okay. We're going to be on TV now. That's cool.
Yeah.
About a minute later, never mind, that's not happening. I'm like, what's going on here? And then finally they said, and they wrote it down. So they wrote it on the board. I'm like, all right, this is official. Yeah. So it was me and, Sammy against Vincent and Dutch. And it was funny because the producer was like, go introduce yourself to them. He didn't know that we were, we were good friends for, 15 years already. So it was funny. I'd never met Sammy. Didn't know him before.
Yeah.
Still don't know him.
Yeah.
So that was just a random tag team. But yeah, being in the middle of the old Dunkin' Donuts Center, that was just a cool moment. It was only like a 3-minute match anyway, but very cool. Got Vinny's family was like in the front row, so they like loved it when we started the match together. So really, really cool moment.
I could be wrong, but you weren't using Magnum for that, were you?
No, they wouldn't let me use Magnum.
Was there a reason? Was there a wrestler that goes by Magnum?
Yeah. So they go, hey, give me another name. I said, what do you mean? They go, you can't use Magnum. I go, why not? I'm like, what the hell? Everyone else gets to use their name.
Yeah. And
they go, we already have a Magnum. And I'm like, who? I was like, who? And they were like, oh, there's a Truth Magnum from the Outrunners.
Oh, yeah.
Which I probably shouldn't have. I kind of admitted like, oh, I don't know your whole roster. I probably shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Been like, okay. And now I can't think of a name on the spot. I'm like, I've never thought of this before. And they were like, what's your middle name? I said, Raymond. And they said, all right, you're Matt Raymond tonight. I was like, all right, I don't have all my tights say Magnum. I hope that's okay. And they were like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So that was it. I was Matt Raymond for one night.
So you talk about earlier Matt Magnum, where the name came from. I'm curious, like the style of wrestling that you have, like, is there inspiration from a few different people of how you carry yourself in the ring or the moves you do?
Yeah. So back in when I first started in like CW, they told me like I'm a cruiserweight. So I'm trying to do that stuff, and I can't do that stuff. I'm not a big guy, but I'm not like a cruiserweight style wrestler. I can't do the fancy stuff. So as a kid, I loved Kurt Angle. Loved him because I did amateur wrestling. So I'm seeing him do that in his matches. I'm like, oh, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So when I went over to like Top Rope, and Ryan could kind of see like, all right, you're really not like a high flyer. Yeah. Like, why don't we work on like some other stuff, like some suplexes and things like that, incorporate that amateur style into your matches. Yeah. So definitely Kurt Angle. And then I started looking up a lot of the Dynamite Kid.
Nice.
That's where I got the tights from, the red tights with the striped socks and everything. And he was, a million times more athletic than I ever was. Yeah. But he was like that. He was a smaller guy and like tough in the ring. Like he was gonna hit you. He was gonna do like the flying headbutt. That's where I got the headbutt from. Yeah, and all that stuff. So I would say definitely Kurt Angle and Dynamite Kid.
Nice.
A lot of their matches I would look to.
Yeah. So I'm curious, when you look at Top Rope, is there any matches that stand out? Because you've had what a career there.
Yeah. I loved my feud with Mike Bennett.
Nice.
Loved that because I was still pretty new there. And, Ryan didn't want me just wrestling Vinnie all the time. Yeah. Because we had done that a lot. He wanted me to wrestle guys that had more experience than me and that could, help me learn. Yeah. So I want to say at that time, Vinnie went with like Tommaso Ciampa and I was matched up with Mike Bennett. And Mike was awesome to work with. Such an easy guy to work with. Again, he's not going to do anything flashy either. Yeah. But great psychology, very giving to like anyone. He didn't really know me, know, and we had competitive matches, and I liked that feud. He was very good to me.
Nice. What about Supershow? Because technically you've been with them since day one, right?
So when Top Rope and I don't know what happened there. Yeah. Kind of branched off into Pro Wrestling Super Show. Now Drew books that. A lot of matches there. I like. Yeah. Now Nico was Top Rope, but more recently I had a few matches with Dustin.
Nice.
Dustin Waller, who I think is really, really good.
Yeah.
I don't know how he feels about those matches because he's a very athletic and like fast-paced wrestler, and I'm not. But I like that contrast of a guy who has the super athletic style and someone who doesn't, someone who's going to be the catcher or the guy who's just going to pummel you. So I thought we meshed really well together. Yeah. And he could do all his cool stuff, and I'd catch him in like a suplex or something.
Yeah.
So I thought we meshed really well. Also, another guy, Ichiban.
Nice.
I loved wrestling him.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing. He's got that very quick,
Yeah.
very athletic, flashy style, and I thought we meshed really well together too.
Was that for Teddy, I think?
There was one for Teddy and
Yeah.
one at in Brockton. Yeah,
Nice.
the one with Teddy, that was funny because the previous night we were in Brockton for something, and he had his show the next day, and he's like, "Hey, have you ever wrestled Ichiban?" And I said, "No." He goes, "All right, that'll probably be good. I'll have you guys wrestle tomorrow." That was it, and
Nice.
I think we opened the show.
Yeah, you did.
That was a really fun match. I thought we clicked really well that day.
Yeah.
So he's another guy.
I'm curious. You've been a lot of places in wrestling. Is there like a favorite venue that sticks out to you?
The PAL was always cool.
Yeah, especially packed and everything. Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, I like the PAL. I haven't been there in a long time because of I haven't been to Top Rope in a long time.
Yeah.
But I would say the PAL was pretty cool.
Yeah. So talk about popping for Matt Magnum. This blew my mind. One day I'm just scrolling through TikTok and I come across your page. So I'm curious. That living room right there is iconic in some of your videos. So I'm curious, when did like the content creating start to begin with? Like, what was the idea behind it?
The idea, well, I go on TikTok.
Yep.
And I see a bunch of like food reviewers. Right.
Okay.
Well, actually, I think I tried to start with just showing my dogs at first, and that didn't really catch on.
Yeah.
And then as I'm scrolling through TikTok, I see a lot of food reviewers, and everybody in every video, everything's a 10 out of 10. Yeah. Everything's 100 out of 10. Oh, this is the best thing I've ever eaten. I'm like, oh, you're so full of crap.
Yeah.
Whether they're being paid to be there or not, I feel like you should be honest.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, I can do this. So I think I started we were at like a county fair or something where they have a bunch of food options. I said, you know what? Let me try this. Let me do a video. And it caught on.
Wow.
And I said, all right, I can do like a series of videos. And I just kept going with it. And, sometimes you got to be brutally honest, whether, whether it's a chain or a small business. I feel like you got to be honest with people.
Yeah.
So, just rating food, and I'm going to go out to eat anyway. So why not make a video about it and possibly get paid for it?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite video you've done so far?
Well, I have a video for Elm Street Diner. They're in Stamford, Connecticut. I think that was one of the first times a restaurant actually like invited me.
Nice.
Like they were like, "Hey, come make a video,"
Wow.
And so I go to Stamford, and it was right across the street from like WWE headquarters.
Yeah.
Funny enough.
The new one or the old one?
The old one.
Okay.
Yeah. And they kept bringing out food, and they were making like this crazy dessert, like a tower this high, like with ice cream and all this other stuff. That was cool.
Nice.
I really enjoyed that.
Do you have any goals with these videos, or like, do you have a goal with the channel, whatever you're doing?
No. Yeah. I mean, I do it for fun, and it's a little bit of income every month.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, if we're gonna go out to eat anyway, might as well try and make some money doing it.
I remember being crushed because you were gonna post when TikTok was ending. You didn't know what to do. I thought it was gonna be over then.
Yeah, everyone was like, "Oh, TikTok's done," and you say your goodbyes, and then like a day later, it was back. So it was all emotional for nothing.
Well, Matt Magnum, I want to thank you for joining me. However, I've been interviewing you the same now. The day you decide it's all done in pro wrestling, which I hope is no time soon, but the day you decide it's all done, what do you want Matt Magnum's legacy in pro wrestling to be?
Well, I don't know if there's a legacy. I mean, I was a guy on the card who you could count on to have a good professional match.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to have a solid match. I'm going to be in shape, and I'm not going to embarrass anybody.
Nice.
So, as far as legacy, I have no idea,
Well, I told you before, like, I was watching you at like 12 years old. So the fact that 20 years old I get to interview you, thank you for everything. Well,
thank you. It's been fun. I haven't wrestled as much as I've wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't know when the end is. I don't know. have this leg injury that's killing me right now. So
Yeah.
that just keeps popping up. I thought it was my hip at first, but looking into it deeper, it's like a muscle in my leg where if I land a certain way, this injury just pops back up.
Okay.
So I'm kind of healing from that right now, and that can be annoying. I got to get that checked because you don't want this injury to pop up like every single time you wrestle.
Yeah.
We just had the roulette a few weeks ago, and I come back limping, and Nico's like, "Is it the hip again?" I said, "Yeah, it's the hip again." So even he knows about it, and so I gotta get that fixed. But and definitely I want to wrestle more. I haven't. That's my fault that I haven't wrestled as much as I wanted to. But I don't think the end is anytime soon.
Yeah,
but,
good.
But I want to wrestle more.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you, Matt Magnum, for doing this. Thank you for everything over these years. I told you, like, the first time I called your match, it was crazy because I used to watch you growing up.
What match did you call of me?
I've called all of Teddy so far.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the live pro wrestling.
My favorite match, I think, of yours, I liked your match with Bobby Orlando.
Oh, at the outdoor show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like my first time even like meeting him.
Yeah.
He came out with the goat.
You came out with a shirt that said something. I forgot what, or something with goats you did.
Yeah, it was like goats are stupid or something like that. Yeah. I saw like a picture of him that he comes out with a goat on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's different. Let me do something with that. So.
Yeah. But thank you, Matt Magnum, for doing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
Thank you, Matt, for doing this, and thank you, everybody, for watching this episode. This was Best for Business.
Thank you for watching this episode of Best for Business. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, because this is Best for Business.